I swear one of these weeks I'm going to have a news theme song. I'm going to remember to do it one of these weeks. Bam, bam, bam. News, bro.
Why don't we just do like a generic breaking news sound?
I mean, you could. That's lazy. Well, like, what if what would you do? Breaking news. Broken news. No, that sounds broken.
Yeah. We are bro kings.
Breaking news. No, that sounds like some incel podcast.
Sounds awful.
I don't like that at all.
Why don't we just ignore it for now?
It lives rent-free in my brain.
I know. Well, it lives rent-free in your brain 30 seconds before we record these.
The news!
If it lived rent-free in your brain during the week, we would have something probably.
Right, but then I forget.
Yeah.
And then I remember.
Yeah.
News!
Shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Hurricane Goots. What's up, our weatherman for the day?
It is actually a bit of a hurricane out here today.
Is it your weatherman voice?
Yeah, not bad at all. But look, we're doing these news episodes every week.
Mm-hmm.
We do it last week. What does Bravo do? They drop a whole slate of new shows that they're coming out with, make a bunch of announcements that make people think that other shows are getting canceled within 24 hours of us dropping an episode.
Literally.
So you can't get mad at us. We're not, I guess we could do an emergency news broadcast at some point.
We probably could
We have
have.
a lot of shit to do during the week, but, we could have done that.
We technically speaking, we could have done that. Maybe we'll do that in the future, but I think it was legit the next day, and it was like, Bravo announces 4 new shows.
It was the next morning I was reading the article. I'm like, this is bullshit. But this is the journalist side of us.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to let it simmer. Make sure that all these things were real. Give
That's
it
another
6
thing.
days to figure things out. See if we get any more news on shows that aren't being recontracted or re-upped, however you want to say it, like RHORI. And then we'll get a little bit more. And we did get a little bit more about these shows. So I think we're in a better place to talk about it now.
Well,
It's
we
not just
didn't-
knee-jerk reactions.
I didn't want to run the risk. Remember last year when they announced 4 new Housewife shows and it was 4 like super obscure cities? I think like Phoenix or Scottsdale was on there.
That was like 3 years ago.
Was that 3 years ago? I don't know. Time is
That was very early on in us doing this podcast.
time is a flat circle.
It really is.
So it really wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of time. But it's a good point. We didn't want to do that again because I think we announced one of those. We're like, holy shit, they're doing a show here, and we talked about it. And that's where the Cleveland thing came up.
The Cleveland thing came up from that, yeah. The Scottsdale one got some legs at some point.
That one, yeah.
Supposedly, they did have people out there scouting, and they had a group of women that they
Oh,
liked.
yeah, because we wanted to
There was
scout.
a lot about that one, and we were leaning into that.
Yeah, we did lean in heavy, and then you kept lobbying for Real Housewives of Cleveland. We still haven't heard rumblings about that.
No,
If they do, I think you have grounds to sue the network.
I absolutely do. I absolutely do. I trademarked that back in the day, so that is mine.
Yeah, you own Real Housewives of Cleveland.
I certainly do. But I kind of remember, and that kind of leads us right into it because obviously, we've got 4 new shows to talk about. We'll just start there because we did get a new housewife show that was announced, and that would be the Real Housewives of
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
How do we think about it?
I'm excited for that one. Rhode Island is a lot of wealth.
Mhm.
There's a lot of wealth in that state, so I'm excited to see some wealth come back to Housewives. Shamia has gotten me all jacked up about seeing the big houses again and like the luxury, the fact that she's got an elevator to her room and then an elevator in her room into her closet.
Yeah.
That's what I need. So Rhode Island, you have a chance to have those big ass houses. You've been to Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
Like if you go to Newport, just fucking mansion. So I'm stoked for it. I think that it's time that we have a new city because here's the problem. Everybody wants to rerun the shows that they know. They want to do RHONI. They want to do Atlanta. You want to do all these other shows, OC. But then when they have a new cast, because you can't keep running the same bullshit out there every year because it gets stale, then they have new members and no one buys into them because it's like, well, it's not so-and-so. RHONI's the best example. Everybody forgets that the reason RHONI got canceled to begin with the OG cast is everyone complained about what was happening on screen. They don't just end a show if it's doing well. So that's why they cut that off. They tried to rerun it with a new cast. It didn't land. We can all admit that. That's the problem. So start over in a new city. The most recent iteration of Housewives, Salt Lake,
Yeah.
is the best Housewives show on right now.
It really is. And I think from what I've heard anyway, at least, some of the rumors that are circulating with the new cast, because there are some women that were chosen, or at least it looks like they could be. It seems like one, which is important, they know each other.
That's
have
massive.
There's some friendships involved in the cast, there's dynamics, there's people that actually have some history, which is huge, which we want to see. And it's not just, the run of the mill, oh, I've seen her at a party before. It's actual things that have happened in Rhode Island, smallest state we have. So chances are the rich people are going to know each other. So I like that they started there. The other thing that I've heard is they're moving more towards a less like middle-aged woman, more towards like a valley-centric type of thing,
Okay.
which is interesting.
That is an interesting pivot.
Yeah, and I think that they can do that. I think that that's fine. And I don't know. I can't speak to the maritals of everything. I don't know.
Maritals.
I don't know.
The
if people-
nuptials.
Nuptials. Yeah, I don't know
Sure.
if people are actually married. I don't know if these are single women. I don't know if they're not.
I
It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, we talked about that. Somebody got up in arms, multiple people in our comments when I posted that. Should they rerun RHONI with Lindsay and Paige?
Yeah.
I think we talked about this yesterday, and people were like, "They're not housewives." It's like, name me 10 housewives on shows right now that are married.
Can't.
No, because it's not a thing.
Can't
So
do it.
that's no longer like a stipulation for being on these shows. So people need to get over that. I'm trying to look up the cast right now.
Nothing's obviously confirmed for the most
No,
part.
they're confirmed, isn't
They did. It's not fully confirmed.
in the Providence Journal that I can't look at because it's behind a paywall. It says they have the full cast.
Checks about right. Yep. Nope.
We can go through rumored cast members. So Ashley, oh man,
We're not going to know any of these people.
Ashley Iaconetti Haben,
Good start.
she's from Bachelor Nation, otherwise known as Ashley I. She appeared on Bachelor season 19, and she stood out because she was still a virgin. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Well, there you go. She later connected with Jared Hybon on Bachelor in Paradise, so she's married to a Bachelor in Paradise,
Okay.
and they have two sons.
I don't think I like this so far.
They have two sons, Dawson and
That I
Hayden.
don't like about this
I
already.
like it a lot.
Okay.
Daria Mancini.
Okay.
Let's see. Olivia Culpo's best friend. Okay.
Okay.
We're moving in the right direction here. You might not like the first one,
I
but
didn't like the first one at all. I don't like.
I like that we have the tie-ins
I
there.
don't like reality TV background.
that. I don't care.
I know. I'm just telling you.
That's fine.
You should care.
Okay, I care.
Care a little bit
I
more.
care a little bit about your feelings.
Yeah.
Lindsay Iadeluca. Locals would be familiar with the next name on the list, as she has local TV experience, it looks like. She's a former reporter from local Rhode Island news station WJAR. These days, the potential RHORI, oh, that's a fun one. RHORI, Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
Oh, that is a really
good.
good one.
RHORI's great. RHORI cast member works as a podcast host, mental health counselor, and spinning instructor. Okay.
I can hear the roars already.
It may include sisters-in-law, Jacqueline Tosca, Lauren Panone Tosca, and Christina Tosca. We got a triple.
Italian sister-in-laws?
Wow, that's
I don't know
dangerous.
about
We
that.
got a track record with that.
Oh,
we have a
God.
track record. They're all listed all over Reddit as part of the rumored cast.
They all paid their
Sister-in-laws.
taxes, from what we can tell.
We'll find out on the show. Could these rumored Real Housewives of Rhode Island cast members be the next Melissa Gorga and Teresa Giudice? God, let's hope not. And let's see, Jenna Malo, local fitness business owner. That we're checking all the boxes here for other Housewives shows as well. She owns a fitness company with her husband, Peter, recently celebrated 6 years in business. They also have a wellness club, Vitality at Peter Malo Fitness. In addition to fitness content and business promotion, Jenna's social media is full of recipes and home decor. Camilla Akbos, content creator, has been on... Oh, shit! She was on Squid Game The Challenge. I love that show. Did you watch that?
No.
That was great.
Oh, wait, yeah, I did. I did watch that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good, actually. I
For some
enjoyed
reason, I
it.
thought you were talking about like the Mr. Beast thing. I'm like,
No, don't be ridiculous.
not
No,
12.
Squid Game, Squid Game The Challenge, which was solid. So she's been on. Oh, no shit. That would have been dope. And the last one that was rumored, but it doesn't look like there's any weight to this one, was Vanessa Carlton. You may know her from Making My Way Downtown.
I've been downtown before.
Do you know my relationship with that song?
Is it a walk-up song?
No.
a great walk-up song.
So it would be a great walk-up song. So Vanessa Carlton, Making My Way Downtown. There were 3 times. There was once in high school, and 2 times in college that I blacked out, like full blackout. And the first time was at Phil's house.
Yep.
And I don't know if you remember, but he had a keyboard self-playing keyboard. You pressed a button and it would play Making My Way Downtown. I guess I thought after drinking an entire bottle of Southern Comfort that I would do a striptease to Making My Way Downtown.
Okay.
So fast forward, it's my freshman year in college, and I wake up in my dorm room, don't remember the night before, and my roommate's looking at me weird, and I'm like, what? What did I do? And he was like, well, you thought it'd be a good idea at the frat party to put on Making My Way Downtown, and you started stripping.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay, weird, I've done that before.
Really good idea for our next live show.
I don't drink anymore, so good luck. And
That was plan A.
the junior year, fast forward, sophomore year, fast forward, I'm in my townhouse, wake up on the couch, don't remember last night, and my buddy's talking to me, and he's like, hey, do you remember last night? And I was like, no, but let me stop you. Did I do a striptease to Making My Way Downtown? He goes, how did you know? And I said, apparently that's my thing.
Done this before.
3 times.
Been here before.
3 times
I've
confirmed.
played these games before.
Yes.
That's a big tie back into Squid Games. Great.
So that's my relationship with that song. But let's talk about the cast. I mean, we don't know any of them.
Know anything about the cat?
But I'm just saying, like, but we also take these things. You can read some of the backgrounds of it. What worries me,
Until Bravo tweets it out and says, "Here's the cast," I'm not going to give a shit.
that's fine. But like, to what you said, let's say the Bachelor ladies in the show, and there's a couple others. I will agree with you as far as having a reality TV background can be a good thing because you're comfortable with the cameras.
Sure.
It can be a bad thing because we do not need a cast coming in trying to overproduce out of the gate.
Correct.
What Salt Lake did so well was not overproduce, especially once Jen Shaw left the fold. Like the 2 years they've had recovering from the Jen Shaw nonsense has been a lot of real moments seemingly, and that's made the show run really well. Plus, they're all friends.
I think it's always going to be kind of interesting because you're going to have in a show like this, especially in a place like if they're in like Providence, if they're in Newport, you're going to have old money versus new money,
Right.
which works well for every dynamic for every housewife show. And you're going to get the jockeying for position. Who wants to be queen bee? Who wants to set up the show? Who wants to be the central figure? Who's going to get the center lobster?
I would guess it's a lobster. That would make sense.
So fucking
Or like a
great.
clam.
It probably is a clam with it's 1,000%. By the way, it's gonna be
A big clam.
it's gonna be a big clam with a
with
pearl.
a pearl in it.
Yeah.
Oh, pearl.
Yeah.
It's going to be a
It's gonna be
pearl.
a pearl. A clam with a pearl would be such better.
That'd be
optics.
cooler. That'd be a lot
Such
cooler.
better optics. I would love that. But yeah, I mean, look, we don't know who's gonna be on this show. We can tell you what's gonna happen for a brand new show like this.
Lois Griffin?
Lois Griffin, Ona Cohog. Yeah, so it's going to be a brand new show. So we've seen this before. I like that it's not in New York because it doesn't have the shoes to fill
Correct.
aspect right away, where it's like, oh, these people are going to hate me. It's a brand new city, a brand new show. So when it's on, I'm sure they'll pick a good time slot. They'll pick a good.
No, they
season
won't.
to
They're
get
going to
it.
put it right up next to something else. So when we have to cover things, we
It'll
have
be a
3 shows in
lead-in.
one day.
All right, let's actually think about this because they haven't started production. Which shows have they not really aired yet? It'll probably I'm gonna say it'll probably lead in from like OC or something.
That would make sense
OC will
timing
finish
wise,
up,
and
I'm
then
thinking
you run out
timing-wise.
Rhode Island.
Yeah, and and we'll get to the RHORI announcement at some point, but I'm excited for a new city.
I'm
like
pumped.
it.
I am too. I just think it's the best way to, if you want, because here's the issue that's facing Housewives. It has the risk of running its course as content.
Yep.
So they need to, I think this is the best plan of action, starting a new city. If this works, go to another. Don't slow down. Just give us more cities if this one works. I think that's the plan of attack rather
It's
than.
like the only city that I can think of, the only setting that actually fits into the schedule would be New York,
Yeah.
where they actually go out to cool restaurants. They go to cool places. Now, a lot of the places you can't film at anymore, which is kind of a bummer. But when you think about the other locations, it's like in Atlanta, we don't go out in Atlanta.
Not a lot, no.
In OC, yeah, we see like the beautiful houses and they're close to the ocean. That's really cool. Salt Lake, you get the mountains as a backdrop, but like we're not really invested in the city as much anymore.
Right.
It's more about the people. So they do need to get away from the settings. Picking a place like Rhode Island seems perfect.
I think it's going to work.
No Cleveland's, but it's perfect.
It is no Cleveland, but it's a step in the right direction. So as this progresses and we get more information, we will let you guys know, but that's what we can look at. For now is just the rumored cast. I do think that it dropped. I saw an article I can't read, and it seems a little bit more.
I don't think that the Providence Journal would be the first to report.
If it's in Providence, Rhode Island,
It could just be a couple of women saying, we were interviewed and we're hoping.
I don't know. I can't get
It
behind the
seems-
paywall. You
but
think I'm going
that's
to
how
pay
paywalls work.
$1?
That's how paywalls
You
work.
think I'm going to pay $1 for the Providence Journal?
No, you're not. But that's how paywalls work. Here we've got the cast.
That's a good
Come
point.
see it. If you had the cast, Bravo would be reporting it. So
Yeah, whatever,
be
man.
honest. But let's move on to the next topic here because we do. What do we have?
We do.
We've got 3 more shows here. Next one up is Wife Swap, Real Housewives edition. Not excited about this one.
No, I'm not either.
This didn't get me going at all.
Now, I've seen 2 different things. Can you clarify for me, please?
I'll
Because
try.
the first one, I imagined what makes the most sense for a setup like this is taking one housewife and swapping her with another housewife in another city.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen something.
We've talked about this before.
We have making trades. We thought it'd be a good idea. What I've seen since then is you're replacing a housewife with like a random housewife in America.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
No, I don't believe so.
So it's the first one.
I believe it's the first one, and I believe it's only, and a lot of people were saying you put them with the families of that housewife, so it's 2 housewives swapping.
So
you
it's
get
wife swap, but it's
wife swap, but
housewives.
housewife edition. Yep.
I don't care.
I don't care at all.
I don't care.
I don't care at all. I think this is too soon. I think they should have seen how Love Hotel goes. I think they have to see how these like weird dynamic reality TV shows go where you swap people in different places. See how things like that play before you do something like this. Like, yeah, we'll check in, but I don't know. I'm going to have to clarify exactly what it is before I can even really figure it out. But if it is what we've seen announcements of, I'm not really excited about it.
Like, am I gonna watch Melissa Gorga swap with?
And she's the one who they were talking about.
Yeah, is she gonna swap with like Heather Dubrow? Like, I don't care.
Does not matter to me.
Nah, it doesn't matter. I don't like that idea.
And it's just gonna be like, it's gonna be cheap. It's gonna be dumb and goofy. It's not gonna be fun. I don't know.
Now, if you switched them with like a random housewife in like the Midwest, now we're talking kind of
Yeah.
Crappy Lake vibes. Like, I fuck with that.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
I just don't see any way that this is a success, and they really haven't made any announcements on exactly what they're doing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But the next one I am very excited about.
What's the next one?
This is a Valley spinoff featuring the Shahs of Sunset.
Oh yeah, I'm so stoked for this one.
This one's great, and we did confirm last week Lisa Vanderpump does get herself a little EP credit for
Yes,
this.
she
because
does.
It is technically a Valley show, and I like it. Look, we didn't really dig into Shahs of Sunset. Steele and I did a live show out in LA. They had a
Yes.
couple of people out there. We didn't really watch it. I never watched Shahs.
Shahs of I've seen, so Dev will put it on, and especially back when we would have Bravo just on before it was all streaming, it would come on a lot. I loved it. I always enjoyed the cast. I always
Yeah.
thought like I don't know what was going
Why did it
on.
get canceled?
I don't know.
Okay.
That I'm not sure of. I'm sure that our listeners probably know more about that, especially the Shaw watchers.
Mhm.
I've heard nothing but amazing things about this show. We, like you said, we did a live show with Reza, and shit, who else was there?
I can't remember, dude. I was so drunk at that show.
Yeah, I know, because you were drinking old fashions.
We'll make the setting out for you. It wasn't a show where we had to do a whole lot. I think we
We
were
were on stage for
like
like 5 or 10
5
minutes.
To me, it felt like 2. I didn't
You
care.
started. Well, hold on. You and Brooks, my brother, were drinking espresso martinis from 10 a.m. watching football.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I was in LA for the first time. I was experiencing 10 a.m. football. It was awesome. We got to go. We ended up going to the bar at like 11:30. We got some lunch, had some more beers, then watched like the 4 o'clock games, which were the 1 o'clock games. And then the Sunday night game started at 4. I was all over the place, and I got drunk again.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
You didn't get drunk again. You were drunk all day. Then we got to the venue, and you're like, old fashioned. I was like, great, great. Just make it on
Well,
stage.
because we did, and this was actually the worst too, because we were doing the show with Zach. Zach Peter was, he was headlining the whole thing,
Mhm.
and it was an ensemble cast, and there were 15 of us.
There's a lot of
They
people.
were switching out. Dodie was out there with Luke.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot
Dodie
of
was
shit
there.
going on, and of course we get there, and I'm like, cool. Who are we going up with? And I think we were going up with Donna Bowling.
I think so. Yeah, Donna was on there. It was me, you, and Zach, and one other
I
person.
thought it was just Donna. I'm not even really sure.
I don't trust
Of
your memory.
course,
of
yeah.
it.
And we get there, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys are gonna go with Donna. You'll be on like second or third. The show doesn't start for another like 45 minutes." I'm like, "All right, cool. We've got time. I'm gonna hang out, have a drink, socialize a little bit." Zach goes, "Yeah, you got to get in this room with us right now. We're doing a little panel."
Mhm.
Like, fuck me.
Yeah, and then you chugged an old fashioned, ordered another one, and came on stage with a beer.
Yeah.
I don't know where the beer came from.
Well, I tipped the bartender
And he gave you it.
to just give me beers.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm just gonna stop by. Just grab me a beer every time.
By the way, if you weren't there, he did fine. So he
No,
showed up when he needed to, as he always
Locking him
does.
like Will Ferrell in Old School.
And the minute that he stepped off stage, it was a stumbling mess again.
Yeah.
But on stage, lights
And then
out.
we did karaoke.
Then we did well, we went to a Star Wars bar, and then we went to
Star
karaoke in
Wars
that
bar.
like basement, which was amazing.
That was incredible.
That place was sick.
Place rocked.
Yeah, it was like all carpet flooring, and it was disgusting and awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy that I played baseball with was there with his wife.
Oh yeah.
Luke
exactly,
came
yeah.
out with
Yeah,
us.
we had a great time for that one.
Good
Anyway,
time.
what the hell were we talking about? Oh yeah, Shahs.
Shahs. So here you go. The Shahs of Sunset are returning to Bravo in a new series called The Valley Persian Style. The reboot will feature alums Reza. It was Gigi.
Okay,
Gigi
cool.
was there with us. Sorry. Gigi. All right, so the cast, you got Reza, Gigi,
I remember
MJ.
Reza because I smoked a cigarette with him.
Yes. Yeah, you guys are crushing heaters outside. Donna was there too. Reza, and Brooks. Okay, lock in still. Reza, Gigi, MJ, and they'll be joined by some new faces as well. This show will focus on their life in LA, highlighting their Persian culture and the next chapter of their lives. So, as you said, this is a spin-off of The Valley. It's known as a Valley franchise now. And like I said, the focus here is their lives out there, highlighting their Persian culture, which I think is awesome. And if it's anything like Shaw's, the episodes that I did see, plus Reza is a delight when
Yeah.
he's on screen. MJ and Gigi, from what I've seen, they also know how to bring it. So, like, this is a great cast and this is a great model. We here at Bros and Shows love when we go and replicate models that work.
Right.
It makes a lot of sense to, okay, the Valley's great, and how do we do it? We had some core cast members. We surrounded them with new faces that they know and they're friends with.
Sort of
Awesome.
like putting a show on pause for a little while in its own way, because you
Sure.
get somebody like, Jackson Doty, and we kind of know people and they know other people from VPR. They haven't been on screen for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Put them on pause and then give them a new show a little bit down the line. They know how the things work. They don't need to be shown the ropes.
They're
They can show
hungry
the
to be
ropes other
back on
people.
screen.
They're hungry to be back on screen. And you get other people that are familiar with it because they're friends with these people, but they've never been on a show themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they know enough, but they're not, they're still like green, so they can get involved. And I think it's going to work. I think this show is really going to work. I think it's going to play. And I hope it's going to play.
Yeah, I think it's
We
going to
need
do
more
well.
shows like this.
I know. I agree. I think that it's awesome. I'm glad they're bringing this one back in this capacity. I think if the Valley taught us anything, it's one, never judge a book by its cover. We were out in the Valley until it came out in episode 1. Both of us were like, holy shit, this show is great.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this will take the same shape, and I'm excited for it. We need more stuff like this that is out of the realm of what we're used to.
Yeah, I like what Bravo's doing with this, and I like that they're dropping all 4 shows, at least the announcements at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, because they're all very different. Aside from the wife swap, which I don't give a shit about, the others make sense.
Yes.
Housewives are sort of a dying franchise. You've got 2 that are doing so great right now in Miami and
But they
Salt
could
Lake.
run by themselves without the rest of them.
They really
honestly.
can, yeah, and they're never going to get rid of Housewives. They just need to figure out how to retool.
I agree.
And if you're going to go to a new city, you're going to go a little younger. You're going to let us try to connect with these people and give them a longer run. And it's not New York where all that pressure builds. It's somewhere new where they can make it their own.
Yeah.
I'm into that. I'm a big fan of that. The last one that they announced was the Ladies of London reboot.
Right.
Now, we know because of Dubai, that's where Carolyn came from. So people are familiar with this.
Mhm.
I like the idea of doing it in London.
I do
It's a New
too.
city, new area. I'm sure it's going to be all new people. They're going to have some sort of ties back. Wouldn't be surprised if Caroline comes in to announce them. They
That-
can do that.
or if she's like a-
salty about Dubai getting canceled, but
I can't. I don't know. That was such a
for
fucking
her,
disaster.
yeah. You think she's still with Sergio? I haven't checked in.
I haven't looked. I have no idea. I know Sergio wouldn't leave her, so.
That's for damn sure.
But my question is, what's the difference of, because we're also getting Real Housewives of London that's playing on what the HAYU network
Yeah,
is. Ladies of London on
Separate.
Bravo.
it's going to be on Bravo. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Or Peacock. I don't think they've differentiated. but
Whatever. It's gonna be
NBC.
on our realm
Yeah.
that we're watching. What's the difference? I mean,
No
obviously
idea.
they're 2 different shows, but
No idea, honestly. I wonder if they just gave HAYU some sort of
Is it
clearance
HAYU or
to
HAYU?
go. I thought it was HAYU.
no.
I'm sure NBC owns HAYU too, so it is kind of weird.
Bravo announced a reboot of Ladies of London, which will follow a new group of British blue bloods, ambitious American expats, and glamorous international socialites in the city. The show previously ran for 3 seasons, blah, blah, blah. It's expected to premiere this year, but a specific date has not been announced. Okay, it's going to be on Bravo. Yeah, so that there's really
Separate
not.
from Housewives of London.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with Housewives of
So
London.
what I understand from the HAYU network, which I think again NBC owns it, you can watch certain Bravo shows through HAYU if you live in like England
Okay.
or if you live in those European countries that have it, but you can't really get access to the Bravo stuff. So I think that's a separate entity. I don't think we're going to hear a whole lot of Housewives of London from where we are.
No, I think that one's going to run on Peacock like the following year.
Yeah,
I
I
would
think
imagine.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be almost like a European exclusive where we'll get some of it here and there, but it's not going to be a focal point over here. Whereas this will be a separate entity that we get that they
Okay.
don't get.
All right. Well, I mean,
It just seems like a lot. Like if they picked good people for Housewives of London, then what? We're getting the leftovers.
but that's my whole point with these
What's
shows.
the Revolutionary War for if we're getting the leftovers?
What the fuck? My whole point with all this is like, this kind of proves my point of like, there's always more people in these cities. That's why I get confused when you have a stale cast or you have a stale cast member. It's like when they recast these things and you see the people they pick, it's like, why did we go that route? You know, clearly there's more crazy people that want to be on TV.
Definitely.
So why do we end up with bad castmates? Why is Britt on Atlanta right now? You know, like I don't get it.
I'm not really sure unless it could just be as simple as they interview really well. And they
I
act like they're
guess.
going to do
Or
things. and
maybe
then
they
when
know
get put-
somebody on the show, so they got a
Yeah.
leg in,
put
and
them in
then
the pressure cooker and they just completely explode, or they show you who they actually are. I don't know.
yeah, it's interesting.
I'm not really sure. But anyway, I mean, like, it looks like they're just throwing a lot of darts at a board.
I'm okay with
If
that.
two of them hit, I'm great with that.
Yeah, that's a
That is a
great.
great balance. 50%, I'll take that all day because it gives us two new shows to talk about, two new shows that people are interested in, two new shows that could run for years. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about two of them.
Now, obviously, with additions
Hmm
come subtractions.
That's just math.
Most notably, Rhoni was not re-upped. Now,
Correct.
there's a lot of discourse going on when it
From
comes
Andy
to Rhoni,
himself.
From Andy himself. Original news was everybody's whacked.
Mhm.
They're all gone. We're not going to see any of the people from the new Rhoni ever again. I'm fully okay with that. I do not need that. But Andy confirmed today, and he was on his Radio Andy talking about this, and he said Rhoni is heavily underway. They're currently casting for the next season, and confirmed Bravo just met last week with 10 potential new women. So that does still tell me that everybody's out.
If you're interviewing 10,
10 is a lot, and obviously, you'll dwindle it down a little bit. I would hope.
there's
Try to get
no.
to like 6 or 7.
Yeah, like we don't need 8 in a new show. I would say 5. If
5
it's
would
new,
be
5
fine,
with
yeah.
2 friends of, and they can
Mhm.
potentially be promoted the following season.
Rhoni's never gonna fully go away. It's New York. It's so close to all the stuff that they have for Bravo.
It will if this one fails.
If this one fails, it'll go on hiatus for years.
Yeah.
But it'll always come back.
Pull a Miami.
It's just too big of a market for them to not try something else.
So I think that this does not count Lindsay out.
Mm-mm,
And
not
I
at all.
think that that's an easy, like people want to argue about it. People want to say this, that, and the other. The bottom line is she's familiar. You know the face. So you're going to watch at least episode 1. And let's be honest, if this show's going to hook you, it's got to have a great premiere.
Yeah.
Lindsay gets you to watch. Lindsay, whether you love her or hate her, makes great reality TV. So following Lindsay around in the city, like, she.
I pray that I'm wrong, but I feel like they're moving too fast with it.
I think they
just
rush
think
it.
it-
I
it
think that's
needs
what they
to
do
just-
with Roni.
They do it with Rhoni every time. They get so panicky about not having a show on Rhoni. After Rhoni got canceled, they're like, "Oh, we got to do something. We got to refresh. We got to do this and that." And like people are still pissed off that you canceled it, even though they stopped watching it. But people are still pissed off, and they're not going to let the newbies get a chance. They're just going to rag on them the whole time. And again, I agree that Rhoni was very underwhelming.
Mhm.
The women did not bring it. It was very produced. It was very boring. Nobody really cared about it at the end. But with this, it's like just give it some time.
Give it 2 years.
Give it 2 years, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want. If you want to bring back some of the OGs and you want to throw them in with other familiar faces or new faces, people will probably welcome that with open arms.
Well, I'll counter that and say, I don't know if a Roni franchise can be successful until you give some of the OGs a show.
Yeah.
Until you have them doing something where people can watch Dorinda and people can watch Luann and
Yeah.
people can watch Sonia on a regular basis, there's always going to be the hangover of we want them back on RHONI. We want them back on RHONI.
Luann has recently said that Dorinda would thrive in a love hotel.
I think Dorinda would be great on a love hotel.
So if you keep doing those little one-offs, and if something like a Real Housewives Ultimate Trip never comes back, I'm fine with that. But if you do these little one-off things with Crappy Lake, with the love hotel, I don't know what Wife Swap is, but maybe you do something with that and you throw some of those in there. Throw them a bone every once in a while so they're still on screen. It'll lessen the blow when you've got new people on RHONI.
I kind of agree, but I really, unless it's a recurring thing where you get to see them frequently, there's always going to be the question mark of why aren't the OGs back? And I'm so sick of hearing it. I think it's tired, it's played out. Everyone's going to keep barking about it, but I think that until you give them something, people are still going to want them back on RHONI. So if you have, that's why I thought when they originally announced RHONI and they announced RHONI Legacy, I'm like, okay, now we've got two separate entities. You have the OGs can do their thing. Then they scrapped Legacy. I'm not sure why, but I thought that was a good plan of attack. And then if you're in this boat now and Legacy was doing well, just take the Legacy off and give them their show back.
Yeah.
If you can prove people wrong and say, see, you do want the OGs back, but I don't think that's the answer. I
don't think they're going to invest a ton of money in bringing the OGs back.
I don't either.
They're too afraid to do that. They'd rather just try something new and see if it works. But again, why are we doing this right now?
I don't know.
We just heard through the grapevine, and you didn't even really announce that it was canceled. You just said
you keep saying it's not canceled.
It's well, he's
not
saying,
him.
Obviously, the franchise is never going to be canceled, but you can't say that you're interviewing 10 new women and not address the elephant in the room. What are we doing with the leftovers? What are we doing with the last cast?
Are they going to be
saying
anywhere?
bye? Are they going to be anywhere? Like, they do have to answer a couple of those things. So I feel like it's just kind of weird that we get this at the very end of an article of all of the new shows that are coming. And then there's just like a huge paragraph of this season is under production. Southern Charm just started. Soho's going in July. And by the way, RHONI's not on this list. Now everybody's like, okay, what's going on with RHONI?
RHONI got canceled.
RHONI got canceled. Now we're spiraling. Now we're getting in a little bit deeper. And now you're addressing it on your radio show if you're Andy. And you're saying we've got 10 new women lined up. It's like, just
tell us what's up.
Tell us what's going on. Be clear about it. And we'll at least know what's going on.
Or be mysterious and say, we're not sure what to do with it yet while you interview 10 women.
And then, you know what? Buy a Super Bowl commercial and throw the new women in there.
Sure.
Get us all going.
Yeah, why not?
Surprise.
Yeah.
Surprise would be great, but we'll have to see how all that shakes out. There wasn't really any other surprises when it comes to, contracts expiring and things like that. Everything else is pretty much in production. We've got Potomac's going to be in production soon. Soho was July. Southern Charm already started.
Miami's coming back soon.
Miami's coming back next month.
What else? There's a couple other ones.
Got to be in production soon at some point. Salt Lake is
already in production. OC has been in production.
OC has been.
Oh yeah, OC
remember
Tamara quit and then came back.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about OC.
All that nonsense.
Salt Lake, I know they just went on their trip and came back, and there's a lot of shit going on with that. So
you got the Bronwyn potential identity theft and like fraud, all that stuff.
So any of the bigger shows, I think Married to Med, even though we don't really watch it, that was re-upped. And all the below decks and stuff, they're all re-upped. So there wasn't any other surprises. It was just RHONI that was pretty much left off the list. So we'll have to see what happens there. The last thing that I need to talk to you about.
I've got a couple things. Go ahead.
Our friends Will and Emmy got engaged. And thank God People was there to take pictures.
Why? Why was People there? And Dev said to me, you're going to eat your words. And I was like, what are you talking about? You and Shooter said that he would never propose, and I was like, look, I'm a man of my word. I will eat my words. Do I think it's a good idea? No, I don't.
I've got an interesting story about this.
So
I told you before we started recording that last week after the Met Gala, I like to read the blind items.
I know you do.
I like to hear what these famous people are doing in their spare time because they're wackos.
Yeah, I think anybody that gets a certain amount of money, you start to do weird shit because you get bored.
Yeah, and I like it when they get confirmed. Now, one of the confirmations was about Will and Emmy for whatever fucking reason. Not sure how they made a blind item, but they sure did. And I'll just read this one to you.
Okay.
And this is not my words. This is the blind item's words.
This is a blind item, not Shooter Magooter.
Speaking of reality stars, this newly engaged one should realize his fiance only said yes because some billionaire she was sleeping with wasn't really a billionaire. Will Culp and Emmy Sharrett.
Emmy was cheating on him?
Yep, supposedly. Wouldn't that be a crazy twist?
What a flip flop. Who
Yeah.
was the billionaire?
It doesn't say who the billionaire was. I don't think anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
so
an interesting one.
The whole thing just stinks.
And maybe they're perfect for each other.
Maybe they are. I just don't want them on Soho anymore.
God, they ruin it, dude.
Just don't come back.
But
Like,
they seem to be still part of the cast. I haven't heard that they're gone. I think that it's still listed in their Instagram profiles, which for whatever reason seems to be the number one
thing.
indicator of people still being on shows is their Instagram
I don't know
bio.
about that though, because Dorit did also remove that she's from her Instagram bio, Beverly Hills Housewife.
Is it back on there?
And yet she's the only one who's confirmed for BravoCon for Beverly Hills.
But that doesn't just
Every other show has like their entire cast, and then you get to Beverly Hills and it's just Dorit.
Dorit. Well, she's probably the one that needs the money the most.
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of BravoCon, there's some more news. BravoCon was officially announced for November in Vegas again, and tickets, I think general admission's like $700.
Is it seriously for the whole weekend?
I think so. Yeah, $700 for like general admission, which means if you want like the Mac Daddy package, I'm assuming you're in the thousands. So, as we've said previously, and we'll reiterate, if we don't get a press pass, we'll be there. But we will be exclusively outside and in the casinos trying to do interviews with people that are coming out of BravoCon. We will not be inside of BravoCon.
Yeah.
I would love to go. We both really want to
We're not
experience it.
discouraging you to not.
Not
be
at
there.
all.
If you feel like you want to go, we're just
By all means. But if we're not getting a press pass, we'll be there. You can find us on the outskirts.
I think the Eagles play in Vegas at some point. That would really, if the stars align,
The stars align.
we get that weekend, I'll for sure be out there.
Definitely be there. No, but you can count on us. We'll be there. Whether we'll be inside or not is that's up to the Bravo
Do a
gods.
meet and greet. We'll get a cabana.
Yeah, we'll make our own sign and we'll bring Brav Bros back for the weekend. We'll call it Brav BroCon. And we'll just be like camped out outside.
Yep.
You can come find us and hang, and then go tell us what you saw
Sneak in
inside.
a couple of times.
We'll definitely try to
Just,
sneak.
I
in.
want to end up on a list from like NBC. Like, don't let this guy in. It's just a picture of me.
We'll definitely try to sneak in through the back door or something. But yeah, hopefully we get a press pass. If not, stay tuned. We'll see what our course of action is. But you can probably bet it'll be a couple of lawn chairs out in front,
Yeah.
just sitting there.
We will not be the only ones with lawn chairs in Vegas. I can tell you that.
No.
Sitting on the strip.
Definitely we'll have some company.
Yeah.
But the last thing I want to talk about, because it's starting to make the rounds again, and then we'll wrap this up. But we'd heard frequently during Scandival that there was a little bit more to this whole thing, that potentially Brock and Raquel, Rachel now, Raquel then, might have had some shenanigans. That wasn't intentional. That just happened. That's tough. That was an unintentional pun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even feel good about it.
Nope.
But there are inklings now that there's more to this story, that potentially some shenanigans did happen between Brock and Raquel. I haven't seen a whole lot. I went on to Reddit to try to dive in a little bit more, and all I found was, so it's just more people are starting to discuss again, I guess, the details of it. There was a TikTok that went viral and somebody brought this whole thing back up, talking about the 4 a.m. pizza trips that they used to take together.
Mm-hmm.
Raquel used to stay at their house, and like her and Brock would hang out late into the night. Obviously, given her track record with Sandoval, people started to question that. But recently, like I said, it started to make the rounds again.
I think Sheena's planning this. She wants to get on Dancing with the Stars.
Didn't she get upset about like her performance on The Masked Singer or something?
She's on her book tour right now doing weird shit on podcasts, but she wanted to write a book because she wanted everybody to understand who she is as a person a little bit deeper, not just how she is on VPR. And she felt like she was getting a lot of hate and people were making fun of her all the time. And she goes into her time, and apparently it all came crumbling down while she was on Masked Singer.
Oh boy.
And she was worried because she did sign up for Masked Singer and she was really excited about it. Obviously, this is on the heels of Ariana going to superstardom after being on Dancing with the Stars.
Correct, and stole her spot on Dancing with the
So
Stars.
she went to, the C team, to the Masked Singer, and started singing. And then she had a realization that people could make fun of her for this. So she broke down in her dressing room about potentially getting made fun of for this.
At The Masked Singer, she broke
At
down?
the Masked Singer, yep, apparently. And she was worried that people were going to make fun of her. So I don't know. Anytime that shit like this comes out, and you're right, when Scandival broke, obviously we were all very hyper fixated on what Tom was doing and what Raquel was doing. that there were a lot of weird things going on, to the point even during the reunion where Tom shouted something about James Kennedy, which was probably true given
Definitely
his track
true.
record, that nobody really batted an eye at. And this was also going on in the background where Sheena was talking about how she trusted Raquel. She trusted her so much that she would leave her alone with Brock at times.
Yeah.
She wasn't even sleeping at home, but Raquel would be there sleeping and Brock would be there sleeping, and there was nothing going on. And now she's got to worry about herself. And at the time, we're all like, Sheena, this isn't about you. Shut up. Like, why are you making this about you? This is what you always do. But when you look at it now, a couple of years removed, it's like, oh, maybe there was. And
That's
we
what
had
people
said
are
that at
doing.
the time. We're like, this is a conversation for a different day. That day never came. It's coming today. It could have happened.
I want to
for
reiterate,
sure.
we don't have any new
We have
information.
no idea, honestly.
Okay,
if
so this is
happened or
all a
not.
big fat alleged.
It's just as likely that it happened and there was no wrongdoing by Sheena as it is that Sheena's putting this out there to try to get some
I
relevancy.
could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because I saw that TikTok yesterday and I was like,
The
ooh.
timing is suspicious too, obviously, with her book going out. So
Oh, that's a good point.
yeah.
Because that drums up more press. Oh, interesting. This might
People
have
are going
all
to read
been
the
a
book and
plan.
try to figure out if Brock was hooking up with Raquel. Like, you're not going to know that from there.
I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
even talk. Like, you want to find out if Brock did abandon his kids? Read the book. It's probably not in the book anymore. Who knows?
Well, you don't have to do that. Yes, he did.
He did, yeah.
We're aware of that.
Yeah. Saving that for when he makes his Valley appearance eventually.
Oh, fuck, that's right.
Sheena's going to, I don't know. I know Lala's definitely in it. We
They
haven't
only
seen
get
Sheena
paid
in it,
per appearance. They're not
Yeah.
like cast members.
but they're in the after show. So they get paid for that.
I'm just glad they're not in it frequently.
Yeah.
I was so nervous they were going to ruin the show. The fact, like, I can deal with a one-off scene. Like,
Yeah,
that's
no,
okay.
one-off scene. She's on the phone with Jesse. Fine,
that's
it's funny as hell when she's on the phone with Jesse. But like, I don't need them.
Yeah, I don't either. That show's flourishing.
Mm-hmm.
It's dark at times, for sure, but it's a great show.
Flourishing in darkness,
Flourishing, thriving in the darkness.
like Bane.
You merely adopted the dark.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm Bane.
But yeah, I mean, we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of shit popped off. Last week, we are both like, there's not a whole lot going on this week. And then I think that night I went to bed and they dropped the fucking announcement of all the new shows. But we will continue to do our journalism week to week. And again, this is all building towards a super special thing that we're going to announce somewhat soon. We got to get the logistics in order first, but we're working towards it. And
You can't tell this is a lot more fun to do too. We don't have to stay so rigid.
yeah, we get to just
We
like,
don't have to go through an episode and worry about getting to certain things.
right? We get to just shoot the shit
Yeah.
with our bros. Because all of you are our bros. Just like shooters, my bro.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything else, bro?
Nope.
Well, that's our show, bros. You got to go.